It was just past 10:30 p.m. when I got home. The house was dark, except for the soft glow under the bedroom door. Quiet, too quiet. No TV. No dishes clinking in the sink. No half-hearted, "Hey, you're home," from the other side of the house like usual. Just silence and that line of light slicing across the hallway floor like a warning. I didn't go in right away. I paused. I've learned to listen when things are too quiet. And I heard it. Soft, sharp breathing. Not sobs. Not yet. Just the sound of someone trying not to fall apart. That someone was my wife. I turned the knob slowly. The door creaked, loud against the silence. She didn't notice. She was on the edge of the bed, phone in one hand, fingers tangled in her hair with the other. Her back was to me. The speakerphone was on. A man's voice was coming through, low and frustrated. "You're dragging this out, Mara. Just leave him already." I stood there, frozen. That voice wasn't mine. And it sure as hell wasn't someone she should have been talking to like that. She didn't know I was there. She was nodding, whispering something into the phone, too quiet to make out. But the guy kept talking, like he'd said this all before. "I'm tired of waiting. You said you'd do it 2 weeks ago." Then she finally spoke up. "I can't just walk out. Not yet." My voice cut through the room. "Not yet?" She gasped and turned so fast the phone slipped from her hand and clattered to the hardwood floor. Her eyes locked on mine, wide, guilt written all over her face. The call was still active. The guy's voice echoed from the phone. What was that? I stepped forward and kicked the phone across the floor with my shoe. It slid under the dresser and went silent. She didn't move. I didn't yell. I didn't even raise my voice. "Who is he?" She opened her mouth, closed it, tried again. "It's not what it sounds like." I laughed. Dry, short. That line still works. She stood up. "Let me explain." "Explain what?" "That you're planning to leave me, but just haven't gotten around to it? That you've been taking calls from some guy behind my back while you cry in the dark like you're the one being wronged?" Her eyes were wet now. Real tears. But I wasn't moved. She said, "I didn't mean for this to happen." "You mean the part where you sneak around, or the part where you get caught?" She looked down. "It started when you stopped talking to me. When you started coming home late." I stepped closer. "I came home late because I was working overtime to cover the mortgage you insisted we take. Remember that? The house you couldn't live without. I was out there trying to keep us afloat. You were here, talking to him." She didn't respond. That silence told me everything I needed. I left the room. Went to the kitchen. She followed. "You have no idea how lonely I've been," she said behind me. "You shut down. You stopped seeing me." I opened the fridge, took out a bottle of water, twisted the cap, and took a sip. "And instead of talking to me, you started talking to him." "I needed someone," she whispered. I turned around. "No, you needed an exit plan." She flinched like I'd slapped her. But I was calm. "Steady," she said. "It's over now." "Which part?" She didn't answer. Instead, she asked, "What are you going to do?" I looked her dead in the eyes. "I don't know yet. But I won't make a scene. You'll sleep in the guest room. I'll keep the master. We'll talk in the morning." She nodded slowly. "Okay." I went upstairs, sat on the edge of the bed, and pulled my laptop onto my lap. Not to scroll, not to distract myself, but to start what I should have started months ago. I pulled up our financials. The shared accounts. The mortgage. The car note in my name that she drove every day. The credit card I paid off each month. The one she'd used just last week to order 2 tickets to New York. Dates that coincided with the guy's business trip from the company tags on the email confirmations she didn't bother deleting. I opened a secure folder and started documenting. Quietly. Coldly. Names. Dates. Transactions. I already had a lawyer on retainer for something else. It wouldn't take much to pivot. Downstairs, I heard her crying again. I didn't go to her. I started making a list instead. Every shared asset. Every account she had access to. Every trace of dependency she had on me. One by one, I began identifying the threads I'd be cutting. She thought this would end with her walking out. I was going to make sure she'd need my permission just to stand. This wasn't heartbreak. This was clarity. And clarity comes with steps, not rage. I looked at the clock. Midnight. 48 hours. That's all I needed. By the time she packed her bags, the ground beneath her would already be gone. By the next morning, I'd already moved $12,800 out of our joint account and into one only I controlled. It wasn't everything. I wanted to leave just enough so she wouldn't catch on. Not yet. I scheduled the rest to transfer in staggered withdrawals over the next 2 days. I called my bank, froze the credit card she used, then requested a new one delivered to my office, not our home. When she came into the kitchen around 8 a.m., she looked like hell. No makeup, eyes red, hair pulled back like she hadn't slept. She sat down without a word. I slid her a cup of coffee and said, "We need to discuss logistics." She blinked. "Logistics? For the transition. You said it's over. Let's treat it like it is." I spoke like I was leading a meeting. Calm, unemotional, focused on tasks. I wasn't looking for drama. I was building an exit plan. For both of us. She nodded slowly. "Are you kicking me out?" "No. I'm giving you time. But I'm also protecting myself." She looked at the coffee cup but didn't touch it. Is there no chance to fix this?" "There was," I said. "When you picked up the phone and said nothing. When you let him tell you to leave me like I was the burden." She looked away. "I didn't think you were listening. That's the problem. You never thought I was listening." I stood. "You have until Monday to figure out your next step. After that, this house is mine. The car's under my name. The utilities, too. Everything you've leaned on. Gone." She didn't protest. Just sat there, stunned. That weekend, I went deeper. I opened her laptop while she was out on a walk and copied the contents of her email to a hard drive. The affair wasn't just personal, it was digital. Hotel confirmations, dinner reservations, conversations with him going back 6 months. Even a spreadsheet they'd shared, mapping out her budget post-divorce. They'd been planning. She wanted half. She wasn't getting a cent. By Sunday night, I had everything I needed: financial documents, communications, digital footprints, a list of assets she didn't even realize were technically mine. The prenup she had signed when we first married, the one she laughed off as just a formality, was airtight. And her affair? That made contesting anything a legal fantasy. Monday morning, I filed the papers. Infidelity is cause. No alimony. No division of property beyond the minimal. I had my lawyer expedite service. When she answered the door and saw the process server, she didn't say a word. She just closed the door and stood there, holding the envelope. I went back to my office, closed the door, and called the HR department at her job. Not to sabotage, just to inform. Her lover? He worked there too. Same department. Same reporting line. They had a strict non-fraternization policy. Violations meant disciplinary review. By Tuesday, she was suspended pending investigation. Her lover, his name was Darren, wasn't as lucky. Fired outright. His wife found out within 24 hours. How? The anonymous email I sent from a burner account, complete with screenshots. She responded only once. "Thank you." I deleted the account after that. Wednesday morning, I got a call from her father. He wanted to talk. Said she'd told him I blindsided her. I emailed him a folder. He called back 30 minutes later, quieter this time. "You were methodical," he said. "No," I replied. I was patient. By Friday, she was out of the house. She didn't take much. A suitcase, a box of clothes, a laptop. I watched from the upstairs window as she loaded the car. She never looked back. No tearful goodbye. No desperate last-minute apology. Just a quiet retreat. But this wasn't over. Not yet. Because the affair was just the surface. There was something deeper, something she hadn't told him, or me. Something that slipped through her phone records and made my gut tighten the second I saw it. A call. From a number I recognized. One that didn't belong to Darren. I traced it back to a local law firm. The timestamp was 2 weeks before I caught her. Right around the time she'd started crying in the bedroom at night. Not out of guilt, but out of pressure. She wasn't just planning to leave me. She was trying to take something with her. Something that didn't belong to her. The number led to a boutique law firm that specialized in family business disputes, asset division, trust manipulation, stealth restructuring. Not the kind of firm you call for a divorce. You call them when you want to bury something without leaving fingerprints. I made an appointment. I used a pseudonym, posed as a potential client. When I walked into their office, the receptionist smiled and asked if I was there to continue discussions about the domestic trust conversion. That's how I knew she'd gone further than I imagined. They thought I was her. I leaned in and said, "Actually, I'd like to review what you've already discussed with Mara Pierce." I dropped her maiden name intentionally, the one she used for legal matters behind my back. The receptionist hesitated. I pulled out a letterhead envelope with the firm's name on it, the one I'd fished from our home shred bin 3 weeks earlier. She took the bait, brought me to a conference room. 10 minutes later, a paralegal walked in with a red folder and asked if I was prepared to move forward with the asset transfer. I took the folder without blinking. Inside were forms, signatures, financial summaries, all bearing her name and forged versions of mine. She'd been prepping to move partial ownership of my real estate firm, the one I'd built before we even married, into a new shell corporation registered under her new LLC. The firm had helped her set it up. They were days away from executing the transfer. I stood, thanked them for their time, and walked out with the folder tucked under my arm like a nuclear detonator. Back at home, I called my attorney and dropped the hammer. Forgery, attempted fraud, corporate theft. He filed a motion to freeze all pending transfers, triggered a review of every property title under my company, and sent an immediate cease and desist to her firm. He also issued a criminal referral to the district attorney's office. By Monday morning, she was served again. This time, not by divorce court, by criminal investigators. She called me an hour later. No words, just breathing. Then finally, "You're ruining my life." "No," I said. "I'm just letting you face it." She tried deflection. "You weren't present. You didn't listen." "This started because you got greedy," I interrupted. "You wanted the payout without the patience. You thought you could orchestrate an exit like a job change." "I didn't mean to. You forged my signature." Silence. "You were going to steal from me. Lie in court. And what? Walk away with half and a smile." Still nothing. I continued. "You didn't just cheat on me. You tried to erase me." She hung up. A week later, I got a call from a woman named Lisa Bader, her former business partner. She'd been left out of Mara's plan, too. Lisa had invested in Mara's marketing company, which had quietly been merged into that shell LLC under Darren's name. She asked if I had any information. I sent her the folder. 3 days later, Lisa filed a civil suit. By the end of the month, my wife was facing 3 lawsuits, one civil, one criminal, one from me. Her name was blacklisted from every financial institution tied to my properties. Her lover? Darren. He filed for bankruptcy. His wife took the kids, the house, and left town. His company wiped him from their records. My wife moved in with her sister. I know because I saw the lease document, signed as a co-tenant, not head of household. The last time I saw her was in court. She looked drained, hollow, hair pulled back like that first morning in the kitchen. I didn't speak to her. I didn't need to. Everything that needed saying had already been signed, filed, executed. When the judge ruled in my favor, full retention of assets, dismissal of her claims, and referral of her forgery attempt to the state, I didn't smile. I stood, buttoned my jacket, walked out. People think revenge is loud, explosive, something that echoes and shouts and slammed doors. It's not. Revenge is paperwork. It's restraint. It's the click of a lock on a door they no longer have the key to. She thought she was going to leave me, but I made sure the version of me she walked out on was the last one she'd ever see. The man she betrayed is gone. The man who replaced him doesn't react. He executes.